New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you here on a Friday morning at 7 a.m. on the Mountain Time Zone. And that means it's time for Ministers Talking Shit. You may notice already I'm flying solo today. Brother Z, our dear friend, and my co-host here, Reverend LZ Sekou. He's off traveling today. And, well, I forgot to schedule a guest. I forgot to schedule somebody to be with me here. And late last night, I realized, hey, I never asked anybody to show up and come on the show. So here we are. It's going to be a fun one. You and me and anyone, and a dog named Boo. Anyone else that might be watching as we're going today. As always, you're welcome to join the conversation and chat along, chime along, join us in what we've got going on here today. So, good morning. I do have my limited edition Ministers Talking Shit mug. Only two in existence that I know of. Very limited edition. Maybe we'll do that mug. Maybe we should have this mug available for sale on our website. The mug. Hey, what about that? Maybe we need a coffee and tea mug fundraiser. A mug fundraiser. Show us your mug fundraiser. There we go. That might be an idea. All right. Hey, again, my name's Dr. Robert. Thanks for being here. As our video shows, we normally talk about anything we want to talk about. And I've been sitting here in front of my computer for over half an hour thinking to myself, what is it I really want to talk about today? There's all kinds of things that are going on. Our dear country is, well, it would appear to be called, maybe some call it turmoil. Maybe we're at a boil. Maybe we're about to boil over. It might be a hot summer. Things might get a little uglier before they start to appear a little better again. But I do want to say that I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by the events of last weekend. I'm encouraged by those that were out in the streets last Saturday, and some of the events that have happened since then. There's some events that I'm not too happy about either. But overall, it would appear the resistance is resisting, and it would appear that which we are resisting in this case is not necessarily persisting. There's an old saying, and maybe I should write a Substack about that. There's an old saying in New Thought that what we resist persists. Perhaps not always. And I have to believe that if the resistance is in better alignment with the natural principles of the universe, peace and growth and love, then that is what persists. It's not what we resist, It's our own persistence, perhaps. Good morning, Linda. Good to see you, dear one. For those that are just tuning in, just getting here this morning, I didn't do my job this week, folks. My apologies to you. You're going to have to listen to me for the next half hour because I didn't do my job and I didn't schedule a guest. I knew that my dear friend Reverend LZ would not be here, but I didn't schedule a guest. And so you get me this morning, unless you want to join the conversation. And if you'd like to be my guest this morning, well, hit me up. Send me a DM. Let me know in the comments, and I'll get you a link. You can come join the show and be on air with me this morning. Be one of our shit-talking ministers here. And I want to also hit in. So that feels like a good idea. How did we get to this name, this ministers talking shit type of name? Because it's not about talking shit at people. It's not about just spewing the party line. And it's not about just throwing the propaganda. And Z and I, when we first sat down for this program, this was not the original name of it. And that's just kind of what came through because we wanted to have a conversation where we could talk about the real things in life. And interestingly enough, a lot of that now slides over into my Substack and the Substack channel that we're creating and that I've been writing for quite a bit. Yes, Linda, resistance has its place. And what we stand for matters most. Absolutely. No question about that. And so let's go back to Saturday. That's one of the things I saw more than anything is that we would I'm going to answer that question in a second. What I saw on Saturday was a lot more of what we stand for. And yes, there was a lot of, uck this guy and uck those folks and this sort of thing that were going on. I'll say shit on the air, but I won't, and there was a lot of that going on. But what I didn't see was that turning to violence or aggression against other than that one person. This is nuanced. It's really difficult to say. It's really, I've been trying all week to really put this into words that I'm really, really happy with because if I've learned anything in 20 years of New Thought, it is never an either or solution. There is never, ever either this or that. That is a choice. But the universe works towards the both and. There is room for both and. Zulma, I hope I'm saying that, Zulma, I hope I'm saying that somewhat right. Are licensed practitioners eligible to serve as guests? Yes. It would require a conversation prior, anybody that I don't know. So, it's an open invitation. Anybody that I know, we've had previous conversations that we're in a partnership or a project or something together. For people that I don't know, I would want to have a conversation with them first. And the best way to go about that is to drop me an email, info@ntmedia.org. That's info, info @ntmedia.org. And we'd be welcome. And again, Zolma, if this is your first time with us, this is normally a two-person program with special guests on occasion. Normally, it is Elzia and I getting our chance to go back and forth and banter about the news and about what happened during the week and such. So thank you for tuning in. Okay, early estimates from the No Kings protest, and I want to talk about that word in just a second. Early estimates from the No Kings protest don't matter. It's not about the number. Could be 5 million, could be 6 million. Some places seem to be underreporting. Some places might have overreported to try to help. Whatever it is, it's not really about the end number. It's about the fact that the American people are willing to take a stand. I again believe, as Linda was saying, for something, for our independence, for our freedom, for our democracy. And the number of people opposed to that was very, very small. There wasn't much going on in Washington, D.C. Let's put it that way. And with every step forward, I believe we're creating a greater sense of community. And I've been saying this week on programs. Now more than ever, the New Thought philosophy and the New Thought message is necessary in all of these experiences. My wife and I marched, and yeah, we had a few of those people around us that wanted to lead those derogatory chants, and by the winds of the universe, either those people would calm down and mellow out with that chant as we were close, or we would speed up and move into another section of the crowd, or the crowd would reshape it, and somehow we were able, and this is a theme that I've got running currently, we were able to create islands of peace within the tumultuous sea of humanity. That's what I think is part of where we're headed, of what's going on here. We've talked, and we talk on this program, and all of our programs, we talk a lot about creating community. And I want to start moving into the phase where we're not just creating it, but we're celebrating it, and we're sharing it, and we're representing that sense of community out in the world. Pour myself another cup of tea here. Normally I get to do this while Z is talking. And so we're starting by this with this concept. And I read this somewhere recently in like the last few months, but I can't find which author I read it from. I read too many books. No, I don't want to say it that way. But we're creating islands of community, islands of peace, islands of peace. And at first, it may look like a deserted island. Your island may look deserted. It may look like you and you alone standing there going, where's the peace? How do I bring more peace into this world? How do I be more peace in this world? But eventually, I believe, and it doesn't take long. And today's environment, politically and socially, is, I believe, accelerating this phenomenon that we're being attracted, coalescing, grouping together, coming together as islands of peace in more and more places. Now, eventually, all these islands will connect, right? Eventually, all these islands will have their connectors, and there are some of us in the world right now that we are exactly that. We are the connector. We are the bridges. We are helping to facilitate conversations, whether it's between left and right, or red and blue, or just conversations within our own community groups. Maybe it's creating bridges of conversation between your spiritual group and your spiritual community and the one down the road. It's amazing to me how I still see such a separation between some communities within the New Thought movement. Cities where unity and religious science barely talk to each other or barely acknowledge each other's existence. And then I see other communities like Las Vegas. Let's talk about Vegas. Vegas has never necessarily been one of my favorite places to go to. Never seem to have a really good time there, and always something weird going on. But Vegas is a great example of where where two new thought communities, a unity community and a religious science or science of mind, now Centers for Spiritual Living community, share space, share time together. And it's not just like they're renting one big place and their communities are doing events together, their communities are showing up together. And I think we're coming to a greater understanding or experience of what new thought really is. I've heard it said for so long that we fall under that new thought umbrella. We fall underneath the new thought blanket. We're part of and I think it's time to let go of that part of and be. I've been talking for a couple of years now. I would like to see, my vision is not just a unified new thought movement, but a place where we can all maintain our identity and affirm our unity. So how's this for a both and for you? To maintain our individuality, but at the same time affirm our unity. Now, for me, that leaves room for conversation, but it also leaves room for a sense of growth. After 20 years, I think I have the science of mind philosophy kind of down. I know what it says. I know what the books say. I know what the principles are. I know what the practices are, and I'm living that. And yet there is this whole branch of new thought that I have never explored, never fully. I know a little bit. I know a little bit about unity, and I understand how part of how they explain and experience and engage with that vision or that version of the philosophy. But at the end of the day, I think we're all speaking the same language. So whether I'm speaking it with a little bit more of a New England accent or a little more with a Southern draw, or maybe a little bit more with a Western flair, I'm still speaking new thought. And I'd like to see more of us sharing that. Yes, it's part of why we named the network the way we did. So it's not the Science of Mind Network. It's not the Unity Network. It's not Unity TV. It's not CSL TV. It's the New Thought Media. And we've seen others that are following suit. My dear brother, Reverend Eamon Duffy, with his ministry is New Thought Men's Community. And for those that want to experience community in a healthy masculine way, there is that avenue. And so I would love to see more and more communities adopt a tagline that just says a New Thought Community, New Thought Media Network, a New Thought Community. Center for Spiritual Living, your city, a New Thought Community. Unity of your town, a New Thought Community. Universal Foundation for Better Living, a New Thought Community. Divine Science Churches, a New Thought Community. Now more than ever, I am fully convinced that this is absolutely the time for new thought to be vocal and visible. And not vocal in opposition. Resistance is okay. Because to me, resistance doesn't apply. We don't necessarily apply resistance. It's just what is. we can apply protest, and if we apply a protest with too much anger and not enough love, we get a riot. But as another one of my good friends has been saying lately, this is coming out of the Center for Spiritual Living North Hollywood, with Reverend Sidney Liam Steen and Reverend Skip Jennings, who is on our network here on Friday mornings. Reverend Skip, what we're actually experiencing is an uprising in consciousness. And that uprising in consciousness is giving our younger generations, I'm going to say, is giving all of us, but I saw a lot more younger people out there last Saturday than I did folks my own age. That might be why they were a lot more willing to yell the F word all day long. I can't do it. I can't just keep screaming that word over and over again. It wears me out and drags me down. Anyway, that what we're seeing is an uprising that has already occurred in consciousness, in the consciousness of New Thought leaders, in the consciousness of others across the country. That consciousness has been uprising. A consciousness of oneness has been rising up, and now it is expressing itself. It is taking form. And I think that in our politicians, and in so many, from Jasmine Crockett to Bernie Sanders to AOC, and I guess I shouldn't degrade the woman by using letters for her name. Alexandria Cortez. Now I want to be so good that her name flies out of my head. I know it's Cortez, but I'm missing her her maiden name as she uses it. There is an uprising that's happening, and people more and more are stepping forward to say, we want something different, and to say no more of this. No more of the authoritarianism, no more of the classism, no more of the racism, and no more of the sexism, and no more transphobia, and no more. But yet, it is time for more. It's time for more love in our lives. It's time for more compassion. It's time to share that love, to express that love, to be more in the world. I see where we are in the world as a great opportunity. And this is not just in the United States, by the way. We got to remember that. We are part of a global community. This is not just the United States. European countries are speaking up. These questions are being had in society all across the planet. And I don't know if we have any time to get into the whole war in the Middle East kind of thing, which is really interesting if you line up what's happening in the Middle East as far as aggression and war with where we are in the TV series of The Chosen. I mean, Jesus is about to flip over the money changers' tables. And in the war here on planet Earth in this timeline, this summer is a summer of great upheaval. It's the summer where the money changers are being turned. turned over, and where the Christ conscious in all of us is uprising, rising up into the world. I want each and every one of us to be part of that uprising in consciousness. Brother Wayne, you changed your profile picture. Right on. Good for you, Wayne. World peace. Yes. The opportunity is here. I know it doesn't look like it. I know it doesn't look like it in the Ukraine, and I know it doesn't look like it in the in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. And I will say the good thing is we've uncovered another one of Donald Trump's secret cheat codes, I guess you could say. He said he'll make a decision about what to do with Iran within 2 weeks. And I forget which brave or resourceful news outlet created it, but I saw a video. Every time he says 2 weeks, it just means he's pushing. He don't have an answer, and he's not giving us an answer, and we have no idea. So he says he'll make a decision within 2 weeks, but that could be never, because almost everything that he says he'll make a decision within 2 weeks about, he either never does or somebody else makes the decision. Point being, there is opportunity, and I believe a great promise before us. And it's going to take a new thought uprising. It's going to take people that understand new thought, whether you're practicing in a church on a weekly basis or you just say a couple of affirmations here and there, whether it's going to take an uprising that says, that invites our friends and neighbors to come with us in consciousness. You know, June is Pride Month, and there's been a great effort to erase pride. And Juneteenth just happened this week, and those in power refuse to acknowledge either of those events. The great orange dictator actually said we have too many holidays on the 19th. Yesterday, made a statement. He thinks we have too many holidays. If that's not a direct attack, I don't know what is. And if you ask me, what we're talking about here is not political at all. It's human rights. You have the right to be human. Gay, straight, trans, black, white, native. What we don't have the right to do is put down others. What we don't have the right to is to be the oppressor. We have to be the uprising of consciousness that says we are in a great opportunity. We are in a point, at that choice point, where we can choose mutual destruction or we can choose world peace. I think world peace is a better option. Do right. Wayne says, do right by dear ones. Exactly. Do right by the dear ones, by the ones that we hold dear. And for many of you, I don't know if I've ever shared this on this program, or for many years now, I challenge you to find a video of me sharing a Sunday talk or a spiritual message at a church or in a community. Some of our programs start a little differently, but every one of my public talks starts by saying hello again, dear ones. Because whether we've ever been in the same room or not, everyone on this planet is dear to me. There are some I don't like, and there are some that I have a hard time with, and there's some that I wish would just shut their mouths. But I imagine they might say the same of me. Everyone is dear to the divine. Everyone. Yes. Even that person. Even that one that just jumped into your mind that made you go, ah! See, we gotta keep ourselves in that uprising energy and consciousness of peace and not let ourselves get pulled into the to step forward as the principles that we teach, as an embodiment of love. And my humanness wants to be better. There's a layer of not a layer, there is an essence of perfection within us. And our very nature is perfect. And sometimes my humanness doesn't get it perfectly, doesn't do it perfectly. But that doesn't change the fact that there is the potential of perfect spiritual living, of perfect engagement with the planet. It doesn't negate the fact that that is within. We start with ourselves. But if I had to sit around and wait on a meditation cushion until I am one with anything, then I do no good in the world of form. And we live in the world of form. Yes, Linda, living in and from peace. Exactly. And it doesn't mean that we don't say what is. I mentioned earlier my Substack, and I invite you to check that out. Head over to Substack. Actually, I'll get you a link here, and check out some of the writings that I've been doing. And I have a new writing coming out, a new one coming out today that is really all about creating within ourselves an island of peace by recognizing that even when I may be attacked, that violence is not the answer, even in self-defense. And there are still so many in New Thought that believe that it's okay to pick up a brick and throw back if I'm being attacked. But I don't believe that that's doing any good towards our collective enlightenment, towards our collective movement as New Thought. And my Substack today is going to talk about that. And then wouldn't you know it, Saturday morning before all of it got started, I was part of a spiritual workshop. I was a guest facilitator and helping to facilitate, along with a group of people, a workshop for Reverend Deborah Johnson. And in some further deeper conversations with Reverend Deborah, we got into the concept in the conversation about I may have been victimized, but that does not make me a victim. And in New Thought, we are often too fast, too quick to rush to that you're all good, it's all perfect, that spiritual bypass, almost a sense of spiritual gaslighting. It happened. And this is the title of my Substack for Tuesday. So you're going to have to wait till Tuesday to read this one. But on Tuesday, what I've written about, and what I'm putting the finest touches, and I always put the final. I write the main piece and then continue to refine it. But oftentimes in New Thought, if we say that something happened to us, people tell us, well, don't be a victim about it. Well, just because I was abused or harmed or victimized or attacked does not mean that I am a victim, or I have victim consciousness, or that I even attracted that into my life. It happened. And I'm still here. What's happening in our country right now, I'm still here. Good people are still here. What's happening in our communities right now, if we look at the epidemic of drug abuse, and we're not just talking about some heroin junkies down on the corner anymore. What's happened with the advance in illegal narcotics that started with a good intent, got into some unhealthy hands, that being the pharmaceutical companies, but that's another story. The violence that we see in our streets, it does us no good to turn a blind eye. The violence we see in our schools and our supermarkets and our I fell into a rabbit hole yesterday, and there's a video came out about 5 or 6 days ago now, less than a week, I think, that is live footage from both police and citizen journalists of the mass shooting that happened in the supermarket up in Boulder, about 30 miles from where I sit, back in 2001. And the perpetrator of that has been sentenced and is going away and is gone away. And I was reminded, and in that they were sharing that the gun the man used was classified as a handgun, but only because of the marketing department at the gun manufacturer, at the home office. It looked almost exactly like an AR-15. It handled and killed like an AR-15, but because the manufacturer made a couple of little design changes and marketed it as a handgun, it was easier to get. And those things happen. And some aren't still here. For them, I mourn, but I'm still here. And so I can do something about that. I can speak to that without being a victim, without playing the victim. Linda, the Substack is under New Thought Media Network. And I did drop a link in the chat. If you didn't see that for some reason, do a search for New Thought Media Network. You should be able to find it fairly easily. And I'm regularly sharing those on the Facebook page as well. So they come out later in the afternoon. I publish every Tuesday and Friday, folks. Every Tuesday and Friday at 7:44. So the Friday episode, the Friday piece hasn't posted yet. It will in just a little bit now. Together we rise. And what we're seeing in the streets of our cities this week, and it has continued throughout the week, LA, every day for over a week now, more than almost 2, I think it is. There are people that are uprising. Let's make sure they're not riots. let's make sure that this uprising, I know why you didn't see it, Linda. Let's make sure this uprising is infused with peace. And let's make sure this uprising is infused with love. Because that's what New Thought's all about. Linda, you must be watching on my personal page, and Facebook no longer allows us to share links to or comments to personal pages. So while I did share a link, it only went to the New Thought Media Network community page and the YouTube page. Yes, let us all help bring some love and light and prayers for Facebook to to help creators instead of making it more difficult. There we go. All right, that's a whole other episode. And folks, we're almost out of time. So I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you for being here this morning and hanging in, showing up, being a part of my ramblings, giving me an opportunity to explain a little more. You know, when you learn the basics of New Thought, we could sit and talk about prayer and the energetic vibration of oneness and how forgiveness acts and all these theories of how New Thought, how we do New Thought. And I don't think any of that, I mean, that's good if we're just starting in. But at a certain point, we've got to take this philosophy into the streets. We've got to take it into our businesses and the businesses that we visit, and we've got to take it into our communities and our community politics and our community councils and our school councils and all the places that we live. I think this will, in years hence, we'll look back and recognize that this was a great uprising in consciousness. And this was the great uprising, a great revival of of New Thought. New Thought may have already had its golden day and its golden age, but that's okay, because we can be the revival. And we're going to see a revival of New Thought. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's what I've got for today. Thanks for being with us. If you'd like to support what we're doing here at New Thought Media Network, please head on over to our website, ntmedia.org. Click on that donate button and share some of your financial good. Let us know you're out there. If you're watching it another time, thank you. Tune in, share this with your friends, and give us a thumbs up, even if you're watching at another time. If you're with us live, thank you for that as well. We're here every Friday, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Also as a podcast, and you can catch us on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Following today, we usually publish about 11 a.m. Mountain Time to try to get this published by then. So join us for that as well. It's a full day on Friday, as it is every day here on New Thought Media Network. You know, we've got some new shows coming, and we've got some that maybe you haven't heard about. Number one, my dear friend Reverend Skip Jennings is up at 11 a.m. today, the High Vibe Hour with Rev Skip, and today his guest is Reverend I'm losing name. I got to start writing names down. I just have too many names in my head, and they just fall right out of my head. So join Rev Skip at 11 o'clock today. Just One You with Barbara Jean is up at 1 p.m. Divine Science Everywhere at 2 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Eastern. Wow, what a program this is. Bishop Darrell Watkins, Reverend Joy Fletcher, and Rev Jeff Radcliffe, 2 o'clock Mountain Time, Divine Science Everywhere. Great program. 5 o'clock, it's the good news with Reverend Barbara Jean as she takes over the captain's seat, as it were, on that program. Now our regular host on Fridays for And Now the Good News. Check that out. And of course, our Friday fireside chat with Pastor Michael Mangus, Reverend Michael Mangus, and his often guest, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, as well on Fridays. So check that out. That's at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. I'm Dr. Robert. I'm going to get out of here for now, but I want to thank you again for being with us. Wish you a great, great Friday. And I look forward to being with you again real soon. But until then, I wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.